Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And I'll try to share the screen here. Share, very good. Move this one over there. And here we are, January 18th in Asia. Our first topic, Shum Dimensions. We're going to relate the Shum Dimensions to Patanjali Yoga Sutras. How exciting. In last Sunday's presentation on Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we looked at Chapter 1. Verse 16, which reads, the supreme state of that is the non-craving for the gunas, arising from the realization of Purusha. And my commentary, that is referring to dispassion, vairagya. We went on to equate realization of Purusha with the terms we are more familiar with of Aatma Darshana, and shared Yogaswami's statement about Aatma Darshana. Aatma Darshana will arise when there is a yearning desire to know the self, and when attachment to the possessions of others entirely disappears. So that's the vairagya we're talking about. You must press hard within yourself. If you do that, you will have the desire for scriptural knowledge. You must squeeze the sugarcane to extract the juice. I've never tried to extract juice from sugarcane, but if anyone has, you probably can confirm it takes a lot of effort. It's not like juicing an orange. So the question to you, what is Atma Darshana? What does it mean to you? How would you answer that question? So it literally means sight of the soul, of course, but what does that mean to you? If someone said, oh, yesterday I experienced Atma Darshana, what would you think they experienced? One approach to an answer is the Shum concept of the 7 dimensions plus Im Kaif. Specifically, dimensions 4, 5, 6, and 7 are progressively more subtle experiences of Atma Darshana. But before looking at dimensions 4 through 7 and Im Kaif, it is good to have a good understanding of dimensions 1, 2, and 3, which are not part of Atma Darshana. 1, 2, and 3, not Atma Darshana, just the world. 4, 5, 6, and 7 are different subtleties of the soul. The first dimension is the inside of things that you cannot see or touch. The inside of a piece of fruit is the first dimension. The outside or surface of the fruit is the second dimension. The inside of the physical body, the earth, a tree, and a stone, these all lie in the first dimension. To bring the first dimension out, simply open up the fruit. The part that was previously unseen as well as untouched, but which is now visible and tangible, has been brought into the second dimension by cutting the fruit open. Within the first dimension of the mind, there are energy flows. Energy in its static state, energy spinning, energy lifting, pushing, pulling, rising, falling, attracting, repelling, changing form, filling, emptying, appearing, and disappearing. 18 forms of energy exist in the first dimension, which all have names in Shum, interacting and causing the phenomena observed in the first world and studied by science as gravity, momentum, inertia, magnetism, electricity, and various forces. We can see these energies flows readily in nature as we witness without holding previous concepts the actions and interactions within plants, within stones, within water, wind, and fire. Second dimension consists of things which can be both seen and touched, the surfaces of objects such as flowers, stones, and water. When we observe these objects without thinking about them, without feeling like or dislike, just pure perception, then we are aware of the second dimension. Likes and dislikes brings in the third dimension. So we're just looking at them abstractly. It appears flat, consisting of only 2 layers of form, for it is seen without evaluation or analysis, which gives depth to our observations. If we close our eyes and then open them very slowly, holding the mind steady, we can sit without relating to anything we see, and therefore see it objectively as it is. This flat view of the world of objects can be experienced more easily by opening just one eye than with both eyes open. When we observe these objects without thinking about them, without feeling like or dislike, just pure perception, then we are aware of the second dimension. It appears flat, consisting of only 2 layers of form. Okay, right. This is a repeat of the last slide. Okay. When we observe, right. Okay. The second dimension is the exterior world, which most languages describe abundantly, making it seem real to us and giving it a sense of permanency. For a man's mind gives substance or recognition to things that are named or labeled. It is in the third dimension that most people live most of the time. This is the world of thoughts and feelings, of emotions and intellectual theory. Within the changing world of the third dimension are 2 basic and intricate flows. The first is a flow of force between people and things. This is a one-way flow through which people relate to objects. The second is a flow between 2 people or more, and also between people and animals. Visualize a stream of energy generated in the body by the processes of life. This energy of prana constantly flows out from the central source of energy and constitutes the aura, the physical energy that moves the body, thoughts and feelings. This prana creates a force field around the body. As soon as 2 people associate, these force fields interact, or the 2 energy streams interchange. Should these energies be of a like nature, the result is friendship. When we understand these energies as they combine, attract, and repel in human relationships, we then begin to discover the constituent parts of what we call the world. So energy between people and things, and energy between people and people and people and animals. Third dimension. So none of that is Aatma Darshana. From the vantage point of the fourth dimension, we can view the building of emotional involvements within the third dimension, observing the workings of the emotional and intellectual units of ourselves and others. From this detachment, we gain the ability to dissolve confusions, conflicts, and the various and varied entanglements that are encountered daily. In the fourth dimension, the first glimmer of inner light within the head is seen. It is usually a pale moonlight glow seen at the top of the head. This dimension gives us a mountaintop consciousness. So these are like the first or entry points of experience of Aatma Darshana. First glimmer of inner light within the head, not too bright, and a mountaintop consciousness, which Gurudeva will explain in the next phrase, that looks over, in, and through everything and gives the facility to enjoy and participate fully in the world while knowing at all times exactly where we are in the mind. So instead of being caught in thoughts and emotions, we're like above them, looking down, have a greater detachment when we're in the fourth dimension. Artists are in the fourth dimension. Each time you design or created anything, you were bringing the beauty of the within through your nerve system into manifestation. It is a beautiful place to be. And you can be there all of the time by feeling the power of your spine. The minute you feel that radiant energy in the spine, you are disconnected from the third dimension and soar into the fourth. So feeling the power within the spine, the actinic energy there, is how we can attain Aatma Darshana. The fifth dimension is the superconscious area from which the clear white light is inwardly seen to fill the head. It's gotten quite bright. In the fifth dimension, we have no sense of ego, no personal me or mine, which after all are composed of the elements of the second and third dimensions. People who are conscious in the fifth dimension have a deep universal love for other people. So that's a key, that's a key quality of the fifth dimension, is universal love for other people. They are often humanitarians. Life for them is a joyous, even blissful experience, with events happening in perfect timing. They hold the perspective that all is well in the world. So as we know, that doesn't mean everything is the way we would like it to be. It just means it's the way it's supposed to be based upon what's happened in the past. In the fifth dimension of the mind, the total evolution of form is perceived, getting deeper. If you were to see a person from the fifth dimension, you would see him as an infant, a grown man, an old man, as dead, decayed, and reborn right now. It's the same with everything. Great inventions and music have come from the fifth dimension in a flash. The still small voice, or the inner voice, comes directly from the fifth dimension. From the fifth dimension, we can look millions of years into the past, the Akashic records, or project an object into the future according to vibratory rate. So certain psychics are very good at that. The sixth dimension is color, sound, and vibration, as well as subtle forms and beings composed of these elements. So this is a dimension seen with the third eye. The colors of the sixth dimension are unlike colors we have ever seen on the surface of the earth. They are brighter, yet more subtle, and they mix and mingle. In other words, colors pass into and through each other, creating exquisite varieties of color with form. Science has recently discovered the sixth dimension. It tells us that all matter is energy in a grosser form, and that even a chair can be reduced to sound and color at a submolecular level. The inner mechanism of the human aura, the inner mechanism of thought forms, the inner mechanism of the astral plane, and the superconscious body of light, the beautiful actinic body of light, are all within this sixth dimension. As man comes into the sixth dimension, the fifth dimensional experience in which the clear white light is inwardly seen to fill the head deepens as light extends throughout the physical body, can even be seen in the feet as he walks. So the strength of the inner light experience helps you know what dimension you're in. Temple deities are six-dimensional beings. When we visit temples, they actually do hear and see our supplications. Great beings who no longer need a physical body also reside in this dimension. The seventh dimension is clear inner space, not clear white light, just clear space. Whereas in the sixth dimension, one experiences an intensity of inner light that glows in every cell of the body, through the torso, the hands, legs, and feet. In the seventh dimension, he comes into pure inner space, seeing within himself a vast space that goes on and on and on, like an infinite inner sky. That's the idea in the chant, Vyoma Vyapane Vyoma Rupaya, Sarva Vyapane Shivaya. So that's the first line, Vyoma Vyapane, space that pervades. Vyoma Rupaya, Sarva Vyapane, pervades everywhere. So the first and the third line are describing this, a vast space that goes on and on and on and on, like an infinite inner sky. It's not outer. One deeply immersed in the seventh dimension would be aware of being aware, without an awareness of light. In a sense, he would be above the vibratory rate of light, and with nothing to be aware of, awareness becomes conscious of itself. Awareness can expand into the endless inner space of the seventh dimension, or contract into being completely aware of itself, kaif. The experience of kaif is simple. Our concepts about it are the biggest barrier. We often feel that pure consciousness must be earned by a saintly life, and we generally know our life well enough to disqualify ourselves. However, anyone can experience kaif, awareness aware of itself, for brief interludes. Therefore, although kaif is itself easy to attain, it is indeed difficult to sustain. So attain versus sustain for longer periods, and even more difficult to dissolve into im kaif, self-realization. Then we have im kaif, pure awareness, aware only of itself, dissolving. The intense state of kaif, when awareness withdraws all energies from all bodies into a peak experience. Kaif eliminates itself, or the locus of awareness dissolves, as the superconscious being of man, lump, returns to its source. This experience may be brief. Im kaif does not name what is found from the experience, it only names the entrance and what happens to kaif. So the observer, the witness, kaif, sakshin, Sanskrit, goes away and comes back. So it wasn't there to record an experience. So Gurudeva calls that the only possible non-experience. So we're not trying for that today. Let's perfect the fourth dimension first, but it shows us how it all fits together. So Aatma Darshana starts with the fourth dimension. Inner light that's not too bright, energy in the spine, mountaintop consciousness, understanding the entanglements of the third dimension better. Those are qualities of the fourth dimension and are the beginning level of Aatma Darshana. Oh, we have some questions sent into satsang@hindu.org. We can always use more questions. Checking on the camera now and then, see if it's still functioning. How does one practice surrender and trust during times of uncertainty and disappointment? How would you answer that question? Our lexicon gives this definition of prapati, literally throwing oneself down. Bhakti, total unconditional submission to God, often coupled with the attitude of personal helplessness, self-effacement, and resignation. I like to think of prapati as a working together with a wiser being. First of all, it involves accepting that the deity is greater than you are in all ways. Then comes the commitment to bring the deity's blessings and help into all your endeavors, outer and inner. This will cause you to do better than you would do without the deity's blessings and help. However, it does not guarantee that you will achieve what you want to achieve, just that you will do better. So that's an important point. 14-year-old worships Ganesha before a test. That doesn't mean the 14-year-old is going to get an A+ on the test. It means the 14-year-old will do somewhat better than he or she would have done without the Ganesha worship, because Ganesha worship puts us in touch with the most intelligent part of ourself, which is called the fourth dimension. Another aspect of surrender is in this quote from Gurudeva. Shiva's devotees accept all experiences, however difficult, as their self-created karma, without cringing or complaining. Theirs is the power of surrender, accepting what is as it is and dealing with it courageously. Acceptance of our karma for this life can be difficult. It is human nature to want to blame others for what we are experiencing. However, others are only the instrument to return our karma to us. That's the way I like to think of it. Rather than blame the person, realize, well, if it wasn't that person, it would have to be somebody else, because we are destined to have that experience in this life or a future life. So don't blame the messenger. The messenger is delivering the action, the reaction to an action you performed in the past. And another question, how does one reconcile that circumstances have unfolded as they were meant to? Specifically, not have regret over past decisions. How would you answer that question? I think we have to accept our own imperfections. Specifically, that if we knew in the past what we know now, we would have done things differently. Well, we need to accept that we didn't know and be happy that now we have new knowledge which we can apply to similar situations in the future, in this and future lives. As I like to say, no one is perfect. If they were, they wouldn't have been born in the first place. We are on earth to learn what we still need to learn. No, we can't feel bad that we made a mistake. We need to learn from it so that when we face the same situation in the future again, we handle it in a wiser way. As Gurudeva says, Dancing with Shiva, Sloka 1. This must be important if it's in Sloka 1 of Dancing with Shiva. We are mortal souls living and growing in the great school of earthly experience in which we have lived many times. So growing means we're learning. We're learning something we didn't know. And how are we doing that? Through earthly experience. So thank you very much, and we're glad our technology held.